How's it going, everybody? This is SK13. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm a beginner rider with very minimal experience. All my videos are from the beginner's perspective. So if that's something you're interested in, if you're a beginner rider yourself, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, comment down below any questions you may have. And today what we're going to be talking about are the top 5 things that I love about the MT03. So this video is going to be a follow-up for my previous video, which was the top 5 things I hate about the bike. More correctly, it should be top 5 things that I really dislike about the bike. I'd say hate is a pretty strong word. Overall, I love this bike. This list today of top 5 things that I love is a lot easier to make. So, won't dilly-dally anymore. Let's get straight into it. So number 1, oh, by the way, this list is in no specific order, and so first off, right off the bat, we'll go with the most subjective thing, and that'll be the looks. So I think this bike looks amazing, looks sporty, it has a very fast look, it makes people curious. So I get a lot of questions, when people see me on this bike about like, hey, what kind of motorcycle is that? It starts a conversation, and I thought that was a very cool thing, especially me being brand new to motorcycling. So looks subjective, but I think they're awesome. A lot of people kind of describe it as a transformer kind of look, but as I mentioned in my previous review of this bike, I think it kind of more looks like a praying mantis from the front, but to each their own, and I think this bike looks great. Next up is the seat height. So if you look at a lot of other YouTube videos, they'll talk about the seat height is great because it allows you to plant your feet down when you're coming to a stoplight, whatever it may be. The reference that I'm coming from is that the seat height is low, so it's at 30.7 inches high. And that really inspires confidence during low speed training. So whenever I'm practicing my low speed maneuvers, that's where the seat height for me really comes in clutch. And if you're, of course you have the benefit of, if you're coming to a stoplight, if you're coming to a stop sign as a beginner rider, you gain that confidence by being able to plant your feet. But kind of taking it to the next level is when you're actually doing your slow speed maneuvers, like you're practicing your counterbalancing, having, knowing that you could easily just put your foot down on either side really gave me a lot of confidence in order to keep on kind of pushing the limits per se during those low speed skills training that I was doing. And see how it's great for, or just to kind of give you some reference, I'm 5'10", 5'11", so I think the height of the motorcycle itself, or even other motorcycles, is not a huge factor for me, but it may be for you. But regardless of what your height is, just knowing that you can easily plant your foot down really gives you confidence. Next up, we have the transmission and the engine. So kind of combining both of those together into one. So as far as the transmission is concerned, the gears just shift extremely smoothly, like buttery smooth. Every time I want to shift into gear, it slides into the forks super easy. There's no like resistance or tension that I feel. The only time it can get jerky is, my lack of, control in the beginning of my clutch. But practice makes perfect on that. And then every time I get like a perfect shift, like that buttery, smooth slide motion, it just feels amazing. And it's never something that I really have to worry about. As far as the engine is concerned, I mean, come on. It's a Yamaha, right? Like, it's awesome. You just get on it and it goes. It's super smooth, and it never really gives you any problems. It's great. Yamaha reliability, you really can't beat that, that Japanese reliability. Next up, we have the ergonomics. So ergonomics can be a huge player or factor into people deciding what kind of motorcycle that they want to buy. Because it's a huge deal, right? As a beginner rider, coming into this, being more upright. So the MT03 or naked bikes in general have a more upright position, right? just being more upright can give you a lot of confidence, especially when you're a brand new rider, because it allows you to really see the road. And a perfect example is right now, what you see in this video of me driving through traffic. Because of the seat height, because it's, straight up, I'm able to really see things a lot further ahead and be a lot more predictive in the way I'm kind of maneuvering myself around this traffic. And ergonomics, I feel like a lot of people kind of just think of it as how comfortable the riding position is. That's true, and that's definitely something to consider. But for me, the ergonomics of this bike really give me a lot of confidence to be able to go out onto these busy, California freeways and busy California streets, and really just handle them well. It gives me the tool to handle it well, and to compensate, to some degree for my lack of experience per se. I hope that makes sense. And so, last but not least, we have I guess my absolute favorite thing about this bike. It's something that I didn't really expect, going into motorcycling to really fall in love with, but it is what it is. So it would be the flickability or the lightweight nature of this bike. So before getting into motorcycling, whenever I thought of like a lightweight bike, I always kind of assumed, obviously a lightweight motorcycle would be nice, because when you're off of it, it's kind of easier to move it around, reposition it in your garage, reposition it while you're parking, etc., etc. But where I found this to be extremely fun was, as I'm riding my motorcycle, whether it be through traffic or just kind of in the twisties or in the turns, that's where I feel like the lightweight nature of this bike really shines. And that's where it kind of blends in with the word flickability, or not even sure that's a word, but how easily you are able to flick this bike around. It's not something I thought I would really enjoy. Going into motorcycling, I thought it would be all about the top speed. How fast can this bike go? How fast can I go in a straight line? But because of the flickability of this bike, I found myself really enjoying the turns. And for that, you really don't need a lot of power. And some people will say the power is kind of a concern with how much fun you can have with this bike. I would absolutely disagree with that, just because power isn't everything. I think with the amount of power that this bike has, it's a 300cc bike, as a beginner rider especially, it's plenty of power to kind of keep you going, to keep you learning, and that combined with its lightweight nature, it is 373 pounds wet, according to Yamaha's website, by the way. With the power that it has and the lightweight nature of it, it's just extremely flickable. You can just toss it into a turn. It feels smooth. It gives you confidence that yes, you are able to control this bike relatively easily. And something I kind of find myself doing, when I'm on a straight, by myself or wherever it may be, is I just kind of swerve the bike around, like left and right. And it's kind of a silly thing to do, but I find it extremely fun and it's extremely entertaining. And that's probably, the number one thing that I love about this bike. So this list wasn't in any sort of order. All these things are things that I love about this bike, and there's other things that I love about this bike that I didn't put on this list. There's so many other things, and I think, as I mentioned in my top 5 hate video, was that list was actually pretty hard for me to make, just because you really have to be nitpicky to the point where that's why I felt like there were more things that I disliked about the bike. But anyways, here's my list of top 5 things that I loved. Of course, I mentioned, this is not everything that I love about the bike. If you have an MT03 or you have any questions about it, comment down below. Ask those questions, especially if you're a beginner rider and you're worried about getting into motorcycling. Can't say I'm an expert, but if I can answer any questions, I definitely will try. And all these things kind of add up to the MT03, in my personal opinion, being the perfect beginner bike. Anywho, maybe that'll be a video for another time. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you for tuning in. Please comment down below, drop a like, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.